They say the Black Country got its name because, well, the sky was always dark with smoke from the many thousands of chimneys and furnaces that filled the air with soot. By day, a thick black dust would fall and cover everything, like a constant dark snow. It settled on the rooftops of the small terraced houses, on the cobbled streets where children played, and on the faces of the men and women who worked so hard to build a new world. This was the heart of industrial England, a place where the ground itself seemed to be made of coal and the air tasted of metal and fire. It was a landscape shaped by human hands and relentless machines, a place of immense power and creativity. At night, the land glowed with a different light. The blackness of the day would give way to a fiery red spectacle that lit up the horizon for miles around. The blast furnaces, which never slept, would spew molten iron, casting a dramatic, hellish glare against the dark sky. It was a sight that both amazed and frightened visitors. It looked as if the whole world was on fire, a constant burning reminder of the immense energy being unleashed from the earth below. This nightly inferno was the other side of the Black Country's identity, a place of intense heat and transformation, where raw materials were turned into the very building blocks of an empire. This unique landscape of fire and smoke created a special kind of people. To live here, you had to be strong, resilient, and full of a stubborn pride. The work was incredibly hard and often dangerous, but it forged communities that were as tough as the iron they made. People relied on each other, sharing what little they had and finding humor in the darkest of situations. They knew they were part of something important, something that was changing the world. They were not just living in the Black Country, they were the Black Country, their spirit forged in the same fires that shaped the land around them. The area itself is not defined by official government lines, but by its geology and its history. The true Black Country sits on a thick seam of coal, the South Staffordshire coalfield, which is about 30 feet deep. This rich natural resource was the fuel for the Industrial Revolution, and the towns that grew up on top of it, Dudley, Walsall, Sandwell and Wolverhampton, became world-famous centres of production. So, the Black Country is more than just a place on a map. It is an idea, a shared heritage, and a powerful identity born from the coal, the iron, and the unyielding spirit of its people. Long before the chimneys and the furnaces, this land was part of a powerful Anglo-Saxon kingdom called Mercia. This was a wild and wooded place, a heartland of ancient England ruled by fierce pagan kings. One of the most famous was King Penda, a warrior who fiercely resisted the spread of the new Christian faith. He worshipped the old gods of his ancestors, like Woden, the god of wisdom and war. You can still hear the echo of Woden's name in some of the local place names, such as Wensbury and Wensfield. These names are like whispers from a distant past, reminding us that this land has a history that goes much deeper than its industrial fame. These early Mercians left their mark on the landscape in other ways too. They cleared parts of the great forests to create settlements and farms, and their language, a dialect of Old English, formed the roots of the distinctive Black Country accent we hear today. It was a time of conflict and change, as different kingdoms fought for control of England. Mercia was at the centre of it all, a powerful force that shaped the future of the nation. The people who lived here were tough and independent, qualities that would be passed down through many generations and become a defining feature of the Black Country character in the centuries to come. As Christianity gradually took hold, new figures of importance emerged. One of the most significant was a noblewoman named Lady Wolfram. Around the year 985, she was given a large area of land by the king and she established a church and a community there. This settlement grew and eventually became the city of Wolverhampton, which is named in her honour. It means Wolfram's high town. Lady Wolfram is remembered as a pious and generous figure, a founder of one of the Black Country's most important urban centres. Her legacy shows the shift from the old pagan world of kings like Penda to a new Christian society. The story of Mercia, with its pagan gods and Christian saints, laid the foundations for what the Black Country would become. It established the area as a place of significance, a central hub within England. The names on the map, the very sound of the local dialect, and the deep-rooted sense of independence can all be traced back to this ancient kingdom. The spirit of Mercia, with its blend of fierce tradition and the capacity for great change, never truly left. It simply went underground, like the coal seams, waiting for the right moment to re-emerge and fuel a new age of fire and industry. During the medieval period, the Black Country remained a largely rural area, covered with forests and dotted with small villages and farms. But it was also a place of great strategic importance. After the Norman conquest in 1066, great castles were built to control the local population and defend the region. The most impressive of these is Dudley Castle, perched high on a limestone hill, its stone walls dominating the surrounding landscape for miles. The castle has witnessed many important historical events and was a key fortress for centuries, a symbol of power and authority that loomed over the lives of ordinary people working the land below. Life for most people in these times was tied to the seasons and the land. They farmed, kept animals, and managed the woodlands. Markets began to grow in towns like Dudley and Wolverhampton, where people from the surrounding countryside would come to sell their produce and buy goods. These markets were the bustling heart of the community, places of trade, gossip, and celebration. But even in this rural world, the seeds of industry were being sown. Small-scale mining of coal and ironstone had been happening since Roman times, and local craftsmen were already known for their skill in making nails and simple metal goods in small forges attached to their homes. The region also found itself at the centre of national dramas. During the English Civil War in the 17th century, the area was mostly royalist, loyal to King Charles I. Dudley Castle became a key royalist stronghold and withstood a long siege by parliamentary forces. The conflict brought soldiers, battles, and hardship to the local towns. A few decades earlier, some of the conspirators involved in the famous gunpowder plot of 1605 fled to the Black Country, seeking refuge at Holbeche House. They were caught, and a dramatic shootout took place, adding another layer of intrigue and history to the local story. These events show that even before the Great Industrial Boom, the Black Country was a place of significance and activity. The early forges and coal pits were small sparks of the immense fire that was to come. The people were already developing the skills and the resilience that would be needed for the great transformation ahead. The castles, markets, and historical dramas all wove a rich tapestry of history, creating a strong sense of place and identity. The land was slowly changing, moving from a quiet, wooded landscape to one that was on the very brink of an industrial explosion that would change it forever. The Industrial Revolution arrived in the Black Country not as a gentle change, but as a thundering, earth-shaking force. The reason was simple. The ground beneath was incredibly rich in the raw materials needed for this new age. Thick seams of coal, ironstone, and limestone lay just below the surface, often together in the same place. This unique combination of resources made the region the perfect cradle for industrial innovation. Suddenly, the land that had been fields and forests was being torn open by thousands of mines, and the sky began to fill with the smoke from countless new workshops and furnaces. The quiet rural world was gone forever. At the heart of this transformation was the steam engine. In 1712, a man named Thomas Newcomen built the world's first successful steam engine right here, next to a coal mine near Dudley Castle. This incredible machine was designed to pump water out of the deep mines, allowing miners to dig for coal that had previously been impossible to reach. It was a revolutionary invention that unlocked the full potential of the region's mineral wealth. The Newcomen engine was the noisy, steaming iron giant that kick-started the industrial age, and its rhythmic pulse became the new heartbeat of the Black Country. To move all the coal, iron, and finished goods, a new network of transportation was needed. A web of canals was dug across the landscape, creating iron rivers that connected the mines and factories to the rest of Britain and the world. Men with shovels and wheelbarrows carved these waterways through hills and valleys, building impressive tunnels and aqueducts. The canals became crowded with narrowboats, horse-drawn and laden with heavy cargo. This new canal network was the vital circulatory system of the industrial Black Country, carrying the lifeblood of its economy and spreading its products far and wide. This great change completely reshaped the lives of the people. Towns like Tipton, Wednesbury and West Bromwich grew rapidly as people flocked to the area for work. Life was incredibly tough, with long hours spent in dangerous conditions, either deep underground in the mines or in the intense heat of the forges and foundries. The landscape became a maze of pits, slag heaps, and smoking chimneys. Yet amidst the grime and the hardship, a powerful new society was being forged. The Black Country was becoming famous around the world as the workshop of the nation, a place of immense energy and production where the modern world was being born. During the Victorian era, the Black Country reached the peak of its industrial power, earning the title Workshop of the World. The iron made here was used to build everything from bridges and railways to ships and buildings across the British Empire. The Great Ironworks, with their towering blast furnaces, produced vast quantities of high-quality iron that was in demand everywhere. The famous engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel came to the Black Country for the iron he needed to build his revolutionary steamship, the SS Great Britain. The region was, quite literally, forging the framework of the modern industrialized world. Alongside iron, the area became a world-renowned centre for glassmaking, especially in the Stourbridge area. The local clay was perfect for making the large pots needed to melt the glass, and the abundant coal provided the intense heat required. Skilled artisans produced beautiful and intricate glassware, from decorative crystal to the specialized lenses needed for lighthouses. This industry combined heavy industrial processes with delicate artistic skill, really showcasing another side of the Black Country's incredible manufacturing diversity. The Stourbridge Glass Quarter became famous for its quality, and its products were exported all over the globe, gracing the tables of royalty and wealthy families. Perhaps the most iconic industry of the Black Country, though, was chain-making, centred in the town of Cradley Heath. Here, thousands of small family-run workshops produced enormous quantities of chain, from the smallest links to the huge, heavy anchor chains needed for the world's biggest ships, including the Titanic. The work was physically demanding, and often done in cramped, smoky conditions for very low pay. Men, women, and even children would work long hours, hammering and welding hot metal in a constant rhythm of fire and steel. This industry, more than any other, came to symbolize the hard graft and resilience of the Black Country people. This period also saw the rise of important movements for workers' rights. The most famous of these was the Women Chainmakers' Strike of 1910. Led by the remarkable trade unionist Mary MacArthur, the women of Cradley Heath stood up against their terrible pay and working conditions. They demanded a fair minimum wage, and their struggle captured the attention of the entire nation. After a 10-week strike, they won their fight, a landmark victory that helped to establish the principle of a minimum wage in Britain. This brave stand showed the world that the people of the Black Country had a strength that was even greater than the iron chains they forged. The culture of the Black Country is as rich and distinctive as its industrial history. One of its most famous features is the local dialect, often affectionately known as Yam Yam. The name comes from the way local people say "you are," which, well, sounds like yow am or yam. This unique way of speaking has very old roots, preserving words and grammar from Anglo-Saxon and Middle English that have disappeared elsewhere. It's a warm and expressive dialect, full of unique phrases and a sort of sing-song rhythm. To hear someone say, "Ow am ya," or "call you our kid," is to hear the authentic voice of the region. The food of the Black Country is simple, hearty, and designed to fill the stomachs of people doing hard physical work. One of the most traditional dishes is faggots, which are meatballs made from pork offal mixed with herbs and bread, and served with mushy peas and gravy. Another local favourite is grey peas and bacon, a slow-cooked dish that was a proper warming winter staple. And of course, there are the famous Black Country chips, often cooked in beef dripping for extra flavour and served generously. These foods really tell a story of making the most of what you have, creating delicious and comforting meals from humble ingredients. Music and humour have always been central to life here. The communities, forged in the heat of the furnaces, developed a unique and resilient sense of humour. It's often dry, self-deprecating and quick-witted, a way of coping with hardship and finding light in the darkness. Comedy acts from the region, like Frank Skinner and Lenny Henry, have shared this distinctive humour with the world. Music has also been a constant source of joy and expression. In the 1970s, the Black Country became a powerhouse of rock and heavy metal music, with bands like Slade, Judas Priest, and Led Zeppelin's Robert Plant and John Bonham all coming from the area. Their loud, powerful music seemed to echo the industrial noise of the landscape they grew up in. Community customs and traditions also played a vital role in holding people together. Pubs were more than just places to drink. They were the social hubs of the community, where people gathered to talk, sing, and play games like dominoes and darts. Pigeon racing was another hugely popular pastime, a passion that connected men to the sky above the smoky towns. These shared activities, along with the strong bonds of family and neighborhood, created a powerful sense of belonging. The culture of the Black Country was not something found in museums. It was lived every day in the streets, homes, and workplaces of its proud and resilient people. The Black Country is a place rich with stories and legends, whispers from its long and dramatic past. The ancient pagan history of Mercia has left behind more than just place names. Some old folk tales speak of the Wild Hunt, a ghostly procession of hunters and hounds led by the god Woden, thundering across the night sky. This legend, found in many parts of northern Europe, took on a special character here, a ghostly echo of the fierce warrior kings who once ruled this land. These stories connected the people to a mythical, pre-Christian world, a time of magic and mystery that existed long before the first coal mine was ever dug. The ancient castles and manor houses of the region are, of course, home to their own collection of ghosts. The most famous is the Grey Lady of Dudley Castle. She's said to be the spirit of Dorothy Beaumont, a royalist lady who lived and died in the castle during the Civil War. Her last wish was to be buried next to her infant daughter in the local church, but her request was denied. Her sad spirit is now said to wander the castle grounds, forever searching for her child and her final resting place. Visitors and staff have reported seeing her ghostly figure for centuries, a sorrowful reminder of the castle's turbulent history. Beyond ghosts and gods, the Black Country has its own folk heroes, real people whose lives became the stuff of legend. One of the most celebrated is the Tipton Slasher, a bare-knuckle boxer named William Perry. Born in Tipton in 1819, he became the champion of England in 1850. He was a hero to the working-class people of the region, a symbol of their strength, toughness, and fighting spirit. Stories of his famous bouts were told and retold in pubs and workshops, his victories celebrated as a victory for the entire Black Country. His statue now stands in his hometown, a monument to a man who embodied the local pride and grit. These legends, from the ghostly Grey Lady to the mighty Tipton Slasher, are more than just entertaining stories. They are part of the fabric of the Black Country's identity. They connect the present to the past, weaving together the different threads of its history, pagan gods, Civil War tragedies, and working-class heroes. These tales give the landscape a sense of depth and mystery, suggesting that there's always more to the place than meets the eye. They are the folklore of a unique and powerful region, stories passed down through generations that help to explain who the people are and where they come from. The story of the Black Country is ultimately the story of its people, the countless individuals whose hard work and ingenuity shaped its destiny. While many remain nameless, some figures stand out for their immense contributions. Thomas Newcomen, though not a local himself, is forever linked to the region for building his world-changing steam engine here in 1712. His invention was the key that unlocked the area's industrial potential, making him a foundational figure in the Black Country's rise. He represents the dawn of the machine age, the moment when human ingenuity harnessed the power of steam and changed the world forever. In the world of iron, one of the most important names was Abraham Darby. Born near Dudley, he moved to Coalbrookdale just outside the region, but his innovations had a massive impact back home. He was the first person to successfully smelt iron using coke, a purified form of coal, instead of charcoal. This breakthrough, made in 1709, meant that iron could be produced on a much larger scale, freeing the industry from its reliance on wood. Darby's method was adopted throughout the Black Country, fueling the explosive growth of the ironworks and making the region the world's leading producer of this vital material. Beyond the industrialists and inventors, there were the voices of the people. Mary MacArthur was a Scottish trade unionist who came to Cradley Heath and became a champion for the exploited women chainmakers. She was a brilliant organiser and a powerful speaker who brought the women's struggle for fair pay to national attention. Her leadership of the successful 1910 strike was a landmark moment in the history of workers' rights and women's rights in Britain. She's remembered not as an industrialist, but as a hero who fought for the dignity and value of the ordinary working person, giving a powerful voice to the voiceless. These figures represent different facets of the Black Country's story: the inventor, the industrialist, and the social reformer. But they're just the famous examples. The real story was built by the millions of miners, iron workers, chain makers, glass blowers, and their families. It was their sweat, skill, and resilience that powered the furnaces and turned the wheels of industry. They were the men and women who endured the hardship, raised their families in the shadow of the chimneys, and forged a powerful and enduring community. They are the true faces of the Black Country, the people who really built this remarkable place. The great fires of the Industrial Revolution have long since gone out. The mines have closed, the giant furnaces have been dismantled, and the thick black smoke no longer darkens the sky. The landscape has changed, with many of the old industrial sites now transformed into green spaces, nature reserves, and modern housing estates. But the Black Country's past has not been forgotten. It lives on in the spirit of the people and the identity of the region. The history of coal, iron, and fire has left a permanent mark, creating a heritage that is celebrated with immense pride and a stubborn refusal to let its unique character fade away. This pride is on full display every year on July 14th, which is celebrated as Black Country Day. The date was chosen to commemorate the invention of the Newcomen steam engine, the machine that started it all. On this day, the black, white, and red flag of the Black Country can be seen flying proudly from public buildings, pubs, and homes across the region. The flag's design is a powerful symbol of this history, a chain representing the famous chain-making industry, set against a background of a red and black triangle, symbolizing the black by day and red by night description of the industrial landscape. This sense of identity is kept alive in many ways. The Black Country Living Museum in Dudley is one of the most popular open-air museums in the UK. It's a remarkable place where historic buildings from all over the region have been moved and rebuilt, creating a living, breathing snapshot of the past. Visitors can go down a reconstructed mine, watch chain makers at work, ride on a vintage tram, and eat chips cooked the traditional way. It's an immersive experience that connects new generations to the lives of their ancestors and shares the Black Country story with the world in a powerful and engaging way. Today, the Black Country continues to evolve. It's a diverse and modern place, facing the challenges of the 21st century. Yet, it holds on tightly to its unique heritage. The dialect can still be heard, the local humour is as sharp as ever, and the sense of community remains strong. The stories of the Tipton slasher, the Grey Lady, and the brave women chainmakers are still told. The Black Country's heart, forged in the heat of the past, is still beating strongly. It's a place that knows exactly where it came from, and that knowledge gives it a quiet confidence and a powerful, unbreakable sense of pride.